The final phase is what we call closing argument, what I alluded to earlier. This is one of the best parts of trial for us as lawyers. We get to stand up and make our arguments. The jury's already heard all the evidence. We get to then argue about what it says and make common sense arguments, make arguments that we know will appeal to their sense of justice, and really summarize everything that they've seen. Because oftentimes they've seen days of evidence and it can be very boring. So our job is to sort of summarize everything again and put it in argument form. Um, the plaintiff goes first. Typically, we split our closing argument in half. We do the first half. The defense will have to give their entire closing argument, and then we give what's called a rebuttal to their entire closing argument. And that's essentially where we address specific points that they've made about their case. And again, as the plaintiffs, we get the advantage here because we have to prove the case. So we're allowed to do a rebuttal at the end of the case. Once the case is submitted to the jury, the judge will read the jury instructions to the jury. It usually takes 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the case. Then the case is handed over to the jury. They're going to take as long as they want to go back to the jury room and deliberate. We've had cases where they decide within 30 minutes. We've had cases where it's taken 2.5 days. But once they're given the case, it's all theirs. All the power in the courtroom shifts to them. It's a beautiful part of the process. Um, Once the jury comes back, they've deliberated, they're supposed to come to a decision. If you're in federal court, it must be a unanimous decision. If it's in state court, depending on the state, in Kansas, for example, 10 out of 12 jurors must agree. So during that deliberation process, at least 10 out of 12 must agree. If they don't, it's what's called a hung jury. So, for example, if 8 jurors are on one side and 4 jurors on the other, and they cannot get 10-2, then that is a hung jury, and the case has to be retried. It's essentially a do-over, where it's a new jury that comes in and considers the case. That is generally the trial process.